Hello and welcome to the Power Up Talk Show, a talk show where we bring together community leaders and inspirational people that are making a difference in our world. Before I invite and introduce my amazing guests, we have to have fun with Dion Bass with Songbird Cocktails.
Hi,
Dion,
Sandy.
what's cooking?
Good morning. I recently ran across this cocktail at a bar that I was at. I'll leave it nameless because I'm not really allowed to go to bars. It's called the Midnight in Dubai, and I saw the recipe and I absolutely love it, so I wanted to share it with you. So I'm going to start out with my Dubai mix. So this is a mixture of cream, a little bit of vodka, and then some nut flavored liqueur that we blend together. And then we're going to kind of add the stars of the show. So this is Tippy Cow chocolate. And I really love Tippy Cow chocolate just for the fact that it's a little bit on the creamy side. It's a little sweet, but it's got a big chocolate flavor. And then lastly, we're going to add our Stella Rosa pistachio cream liqueur. So this is literally a dessert in a glass.
It sounds like my calories are already going on my hips, but I'm ready for it.
Well, I heard that on months that end in you don't actually gain any
Thank
calories
you, Dion.
whatsoever. So,
Yeah, thanks.
all right. And then once we have all of those added together, we're going to give our little guy a shake. Now, once shaken, we're going to go ahead and strain these guys into our glasses. I actually found these, I was out in West Omaha at just garage selling, and I found a whole set, and I mean, they are beautiful, elegant, wonderful for usage with guests, and I just love them for everything. Then we're gonna top this with a little bit of cold foam. And some coffee beans. And here we have it, our Midnight in Dubai. Thanks for having me on the show, Sandy.
Thanks, Dion.
Cheers, everyone.
Alrighty, let's toast to this
Cheers.
amazing, I don't know what,
That is
like-
a dessert in a cup.
It's an early happy holidays for
Yes.
us. I love it. Okay.
so yummy.
Audience, I'm so excited for this guest. Not only look at this bright red, I mean, hello, great color. I'm excited to introduce her because she's just an amazing woman and founder of Women with Voices. I love when I meet a woman that's really making a difference in our world. And this next guest, you're in for a treat. Let me introduce Dr. Sasha Shillcutt, and she's a cardiac anesthesiologist, professor, two-time author, a wife and mother, and she's opening, wait for this, a luxury women's club in Omaha, Nebraska. Oh my goodness. Where do we begin? First of all, thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Sandy. I'm so excited to chat with you. I've been looking forward to this all week.
Yay. Well, let's tell the audience exactly how do you do it all? As I was writing this up, I'm like, you know, as a woman doctor, you have your own struggles, a mother, a wife, 2, 3 children?
4.
Okay. 4, that just got deeper. 4 children, two-time author, and now you're like, I'm going to open up a luxury club and a professor. Like, how do you do all this? Tell us how it all began.
Well, it really began out of a place of burnout and isolation and loneliness. I found myself about 10 years into my career as a physician. I had 4 young children, really struggling. I was very isolated. I was very lonely. I was saying yes to everything at work and then trying to be a mother on the second shift at home, you know, at night, and just feeling like, wow, this is not what I thought life was supposed to be like. And At the same time, I started thinking to myself, like, I'm supposed to be happy. I've gone to school all these years and I'm so unhappy in this job, but I'm also not feeling really great at home. You know, I feel like a failure. I'm not doing this well. And I realized this was about in 2014 that I was so isolated and lonely as a woman that I didn't feel like I could really share my struggles with anyone. And so I was just keeping them internally, which just makes the cycle continue. So I started a year of no, where I started saying no to things that I didn't have the capacity to do or the time to do. And I recognized how over-functioning I was and how I was looking for all this external, validation from things that really weren't filling my cup, and that I really needed friendship. So I started a text group, and it was 9 women that I asked, literally, will you be my friend? And they said yes. And that text group grew to a Facebook community that grew very rapidly to about 13,000 women doctors. And now that transformed about 9 years ago into a company that I run called Brave Enough. So then that's really what started my entrepreneurial journey and my ability to lead courses, conferences, and retreats, mostly for women in healthcare. Yeah. So I've been doing that now for 10 years. And the reason that I'm opening the women's club here locally is because I feel like there are so many amazing women in our community doing phenomenal things like what you do. There are so many amazing groups of women, but we're so siloed, and we don't have a central location where we can meet, where we can rest, where we can connect, where we can work if that's what we need to do that day. But a safe environment where we feel taken care of as women. And these spaces exist for men in our society, which are awesome. I think they're amazing, but we don't have that for women. And so that's the next part of my career, is going to be building this club.
Now, you are a very busy woman. Mm-hmm. What was the defining moment that you said, I'm going to build it. I'm going to build it. They're going to come. Right?
Yeah.
Right? I just think of that Field of Dreams. He's like, I'm going to build it. They're going to come. I feel the same power when we met for our one-to-one. And I was all in, right? I just believe in what you do. I believe that women with voices, it's empowering through community, right? That's what I started my mission 4 years ago, is that women were feeling alone, especially after the pandemic. I think women just put on so much more responsibility, as we do, that they were starving for connection, as you saw, right? And the power of being able to go somewhere. I do events, right? I do events with my Women with Voices, and to have a location knowing that it's going to be 5-star, beautiful, they're going to be welcomed, and have my women come there and have events and host events there, it was magical. Like, I want women to get that experience, even if they are not a member, but being able to be a part of the luxury club by attending an event there, right? About feeling the community of belonging, from anywhere. I always say, if you want to wear your yogas to your prom dress, I don't care, whatever makes you feel good, right? But it's about making women feel good in an environment that's empowering and inspirational.
Yes. Yes.
So what was that what was that moment? You're like, I'm going to build it. I mean, you've done so much. I still don't know how you do it all, but you said, I'm going to do it.
So about 2 years ago, I wanted to do this for 5 years. I did the research, but then I always had the list of why this wouldn't work or why not now. I have 4 kids that are going, to put through college. I have a successful career. Like, why do I really need to do this risky thing? Because it is a risk. And about 2 years ago, I was sitting at a conference, and there was a woman in her 70s. She stood up. She was highly successful. She had owned multiple companies. And she said, I'm so-and-so, and I've had multiple careers. And when she said that, I just kind of paused, because I think sometimes as women, we get into our career path, we get into this thing, and we see this thing over here, or we're like, oh, I should start this small thing that is really deep in my heart, but I'm on this path. Like, I can't get off this path for whatever reason. And when she said that, it opened up the idea that I could have multiple careers. And then in the last year, 2 things happened in the last year and a half that really woke me up. One was I lost my house in the tornado last April, and then I lost a family member suddenly, a very young family member. And those 2 experiences and tragedies made me recognize how short life is. And I thought, what am I waiting for? And I'm building a space I need. I'm building a space that I know other women need. And my previous company, Brave Enough, has been highly successful because I put out there what I need. I get vulnerable with the women in my community, and I create the spaces like you do for women to be their vulnerable, real self. And I think when you create something that you yourself need, it's going to be successful, because chances are whatever you're going through in life as a woman, there's probably 10 other women on your block going through that. You just don't know them, right? And when we gather, when we connect, like not networking, but connection, that's where our problems all of a sudden have a solution, because this person sitting next to us having coffee is like, oh, I went through that 2 years ago. This is what I did. Or have you thought about this? And it validates what your experiences are. And I totally agree with what you said, which I think is so amazing what you're doing, because women are so isolated and lonely right now. We're around people all day. We're caring for everybody. We're taking care of our aging parents. We're taking care of our children. We're taking care of our coworkers, but we're not taking care of ourselves. And we need other women to see us.
Yes. And I love that you brought up vulnerability, because that's what I do see, right? In when women share their stories and their journeys, is that their vulnerability, that they're human, that they're not perfect. And every time there is someone that needs to hear that story and that journey. And what's nice about the Luxury Club is that you're building an environment for women to come work, maybe have a cocktail, a coffee, where you're going to meet other women that you can start a conversation with, that you will grow into a relationship. How do you yourself, you're very successful, how do you become and share your vulnerability?
I love that question. I think, I have a podcast. I have many social media. I'm not the person who takes 500 pictures. I used to be on social media to get the perfect one. I put myself out there because I'm a hot mess some days, and I don't want people to think that I have myself all together and I'm always, my hair's always blown out, or I always am positive and happy. That's just not true. There's times where I'm really struggling, especially in the last couple years. And what I realized is vulnerability is what makes me stay connected to my community. It makes me also stay connected to my faith. It makes me stay connected to and grounded to my family. And we don't often have the space or the time in our work lives to be vulnerable at work. And we may find that we don't even have that time with our partner even to be. I think a lot of women don't even know how to bring up difficult things with their partner. So what I'm hoping to get out of this club is exactly that vulnerability. And I'm building this club that is really going to have 3 functions. If you need to come and rest, like you've had a day or you've had a week and you just need some downtime. And if you go home, you're going to throw a load of laundry in. You're not going to sit and really rest. There's going to be a quiet lounge for you to do that. There's going to be a place for connection for us to do what we're doing now and talk and share and meet other women and meet a friend. There's also going to be a place to have a meeting, or we even are having individual, what I'm calling sanctuary suites. So maybe you're like, I need a few hours by myself. I don't even want anybody to see me, but I do want someone to come in and give me a great cappuccino or a little sparkling water or rosé. We're having those spaces as well. And so I think what I know and what I've seen in 10 years of building communities online and around the country with women in medicine specifically is magic happens when you get vulnerable one-on-one or in a small group. And I want to foster that in the club. And so we're going to have events. We're going to have times where Sandy Spady's sitting in a chair just like this, and you're talking about the power of community for 15 minutes, and it opens up all these great conversations and connections with our members. So we're going to have things like wellness walks. I'm super excited about that, where we're going to walk and coach today on this one topic. Bring your tennis shoes, and then we're going to come up here and have coffee and chit chat afterwards, So I'm purposely not calling it a co-working space because I don't want women to think that all they have to do is work there. You can work there, but I really want to dig into the connection piece.
Connection. I love connections. My entire life has been connection with people. I love building those relationships. And the one person that I have to introduce you to is Andy Horg with Midlands business journal because she does the 5K. Have you met her yet?
I have met her.
Okay,
Yes.
have you gone on a walk with her?
No, I haven't done the
Okay,
walk with her.
'cause-
We were supposed to, and then she got ill, actually.
Yeah,
So we had
okay.
to postpone
Totally
it. Yes.
see. She does walks all the time. They're power walks. I love that you're bringing a different avenue of just not just sitting around networking, working, but also interactive coaching,
Yes.
panel speakers. It sounds like you're going to
Yes.
bring people in, and women that have businesses or events. They can be by themselves, or they can bring and do an event like I can do an event.
Correct.
Everything. Sign up today. Okay. I'm so excited about this. All right. Now let's talk about being an author. Brave Boundaries is all about boundaries, right? We all have to learn the power of no.
Yes.
I actually speak to high schooler and junior high girls on the power of saying no, right? You have to practice saying no. And if we started when we were young saying no, I'm not going into that car. No, you're not getting this, right? It's a power of saying no. That needs to start at a young age. And now, because you're teaching it at our age, right?
Yes.
The power of saying no.
Yes.
Tell us first about the Brave Boundaries, the strategies that, what made you finally decide, I need to share this?
Well, I've taken, I'm a physician. I have a master's in clinical and translational research. I've done so much schooling, I can't count. I'm highly educated. I'm in the top 1% of women in the world from an educational standpoint, and I never have been taught boundaries. In all my schooling, in all my education, in all my leadership courses, I've taken courses at Harvard to all over the world. And I've never taken this course. No one ever taught me this. So I love that you're teaching this to high school girls because this is so important. And the more successful you get in life, and the more you show up and do the things someone asks you to do, the more you're going to get asked to do. So the more likely you are to get burned out. The people, I always say lazy people don't burn out.
Because nobody really wants anything to
You don't need to worry about that. You need to worry about the high achievers,
Yes.
right? And the people doing the most. And nobody taught me boundaries. So during the pandemic, I found myself leading this huge group of physicians. So, I mean, talk about heaviness. Like the stuff we were talking in my community, it was people didn't have PPE, people were dying, didn't know if they were risking their own lives going to work. It was so stressful and chaotic in those first few months. And I found myself trying to I was in my group 24/7, and I felt like I would come back into the group and go to sleep for 6 hours, and there was just more stuff and more stuff. And I adopted this mother role in this hero complex, and I was really struggling because I didn't have boundaries. So I talked to a friend of mine, and she said, I think you need to talk to somebody. Like, I think you really need to go to talk to somebody and go to therapy. And I was like, therapy? No. I just need a better calendar or time management app or something. And she's like, no, I think you need some boundaries. Like, this is really affecting your health and your mental health. And so I went and talked to somebody, and she was brilliant. And she said, you need boundaries with yourself. And I said, what? What do you mean boundaries? Aren't those for people going through a messy divorce or something? And she's like, yeah, you need to evaluate your internal boundaries on how you let people access you and what you're giving to people. And it was mind-blowing. So I dug into all the literature because I'm a researcher. This is what I think. I have a scientific mind. And I was like, where is the book for like the everyday working woman, like on boundaries? I couldn't find it. So I decided to write it. And that's where the book came from. And at the end of every chapter, it's a workbook. So you can really dig in and ask yourself, like, what boundaries do I need?
I love that. And what year was this?
2022.
2022. And then it goes to author number 2, book 2, Between Grit and Grace. Tell us the next edition.
Okay, so this was actually my first book.
Oh,
that
it
I wrote.
was. So
yes.
this is the second book.
This was the second book. This book
Okay.
came out in 2020, and this was my very first book. And it really talks about my journey out of burnout and how I took back my power in my agency and started saying no. And started saying no to the people I love the most, which is the hardest thing to do. And how I really started showing up for myself with more feminine energy because I was in medicine, which is a very male-dominated environment, and I embraced all the masculine energy, and I felt like I had 2 lives. And I was like, okay, I'm talking to this patient, and I want to cry because this is really hard. And I can't promise this family that we're going to make it out of the OR. And I'm feeling myself have empathy and tears, but I got to shut that off because I got to act like a man. That's male energy. We don't cry. We cry in closets. We cry in, around the scrub machine. We don't let anyone see us cry. And I realized, like, wait a minute, but that's who I am as a doctor. That's what makes me good, is that empathy. And and it's my whole talk about grit and grace. And you can be gritty and you can give grace as a woman. And you can succeed tapping into that feminine energy, because that oftentimes is how you've been created. Yes. And yes, you can be ambitious and you can be strong and you can lead codes and you can take charge. I mean, I can take charge, like I can come out of the dugout.
I love it.
I don't have a problem coming out of the dugout. But on the same hand, I can cry with my patients. And you know what? That makes me an okay doctor, and it makes me an okay leader. And I have now embraced that, but I didn't know how to do that. And that's what this book talks about.
So it really makes sense now.
Yes.
Because you found how to be you,
I
really.
found my authentic self,
Yeah, and in a human world where really, as a doctor, I could see how men, they aren't as empathy. They don't have the empathy that women have, and be able to have that. That's almost really a blessing, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then it only makes sense that you went into the boundaries.
Yes.
Because now that you figured out who you are, what you want to be, how you want to, the world to see you, now you have to find who you are.
Yes.
And you keep at the boundaries so you can continue doing the great things you're doing.
And I always say to people, I burned out in 2014 because I was doing things I didn't want to do. Yeah. And then I burned out in 2020 because I was doing too much of what I love to do.
Good.
And that's where boundaries come in. Boundaries are not just to keep the bad out, they're to keep the good in. Yeah. And we can often find ourselves overexpressing our biggest strength and burning out, even though we're doing all the things we love. I mean, I'm sure like you get asked to do a million things. I'm sure you get asked to speak, and I bet you want to speak at all these places.
I do.
But you can't,
I know, I can't, I know.
And so
it's hard to say no.
Yeah, it's hard to say no to things you love, but it's really important that we recognize that we are humans and we have to recharge, and we have a limited amount of capacity and energy. And we have to put up those boundaries. And this book just gives you the language to do that.
Have you ever thought about, how many girls do you have out of your 4? Do you have girls or all boys?
I have one girl.
Okay.
Yes.
It makes me think, because, when I speak to the high school girls about saying no, have you ever thought about, how old is your daughter?
17.
17. And I'm sure you've taught her a lot of boundaries, right?
Let me just say, the girl has better boundaries than I do. Like, she will come home on a Friday night and be like, I need my chore list because I'm having a night for Sophia tonight, and I'm going to do like stay in and do beauty, and I'm getting all the chores done because tomorrow I am not going to be available. I'm like,
I love it.
Who are you? And then she's like, Mom, I'm setting boundaries. And I'm like, okay, I guess I've created a monster, but I love it. I love that she has such good language because she's learned that it's okay to say no to even her parents. Like sometimes I'll say, come with us, we're going to go get sushi. And she's like, no, I'm going to stay home. Bring me something home. I'm like, okay. So
that's beautiful. She's had a great example, right? She's watched you. I have a daughter too that is an entrepreneur, and she's like, Mom, I watched you coach women. Just, go do it. Take that step. Be the courage. And she goes, I'm doing it. I'm like,
love it.
They watch us, right? That is beautiful.
Yes.
My question was, have you ever thought about doing a book for the youth, like high school?
Yes.
Yeah, I totally see that.
I have thought about that so many times. I have a little bit of imposter syndrome because I've been asked to write that book so many times, and I'm like, I need to make sure that I have successfully launched some people. Yeah. So maybe in like 5 years, because I still have everybody that I'm responsible for still on my payroll and is still somehow connected to me. I know they're about to launch. A couple college kids everybody's doing great, but I want to make sure that I have enough kind of reflection to look back. But yes, younger girls need to hear this because we grow up in a society where we earn our gold stars as girls by saying yes to everything and being polite and saying, oh, okay, and just default yes. The default to when we are asked to do something as women that is very different from men is the answer will be yes. And if the answer is no, we respond with, I'm sorry, no. It's like we're already apologizing because the default is a yes, where men have much more agency and choice.
Yeah.
It's like they get, oh my gosh, will you do this? That's not going to work for me. And they just move on to the next person. It's not even a thing. But we're like, oh gosh, I can't do that. I have this and this, and I'm so sorry. And it's like already we're at a default, like where we're in trouble or we've done something wrong simply by saying no.
I love that because I get asked to do, a youth summit for young women. And I'm like, if I had 3 of me, I would.
Yes.
I would.
Yes.
And someday I will.
Right.
Yeah.
There will be
it's
the room
the back
for it.
burner.
Yes.
And it's good to be having the dreams in the back burner because they do move upwards.
Yes.
All right. What can you share with the audience about taking that first step, how to say no, how to set up that first boundary?
Yes. So I love to say, think of your biggest pain point in life. What is that? There's something that you are avoiding the no. So you've put it off on the back burner. You're avoiding the email. You're avoiding the person because you don't want to give them eye contact because you just are not saying the no. What I tell people is when someone is asking you to do something and you know instantly in your gut it's a no for you, say it then. Don't delay the no because a delayed no becomes a yes because now you have guilt. Right? So just find your 30 seconds of brave, I call it, and speak through the fear and say, I would thank you instead of I'm sorry. Thank you so much for thinking of me to do this. I love that you thought of me. Unfortunately, it doesn't work with my life this year. That's not. It doesn't fit my goals this year. It doesn't fit my whatever. My schedule.
It doesn't.
Boom.
Yeah.
Then what you've done is you've released that person to go ask the next person. You don't carry the guilt, but what we normally do is, oh, let me see. I don't know. I'll get back to you.
And then you have to get back with them.
And then you have to get back to them.
So
and
true.
no is a muscle, like you said. We have to flex it. We have to use it multiple times. The more we do it, the more, I was so bad at saying no 10 years ago that when I said no in my year of no, people didn't believe me. Yeah. They're like, oh, okay, we'll see you tomorrow. I was like, I just said no. I was so bad at saying no.
Yes.
But then, now if I get an email and it's an amazing thing I want to do, but I can't do it, I, in 30 seconds, follow my gut and go, no, thank you. And then I'll say, no, but maybe this person.
Yeah.
Or no, but ask me next year because actually I really want to do this. I just can't do it this year.
Yes.
And then, I put on events, you put on events. I love when people respond right away. Yes. The people who say, maybe, they stress us out.
Yes. And being in sales, I would just say, just tell me yes or no, because I don't want to, have your time.
Right, your time.
My time.
Yes.
And let's just be honest. It won't.
And we have this negative belief that if we say no, people aren't going to like us.
Yes.
And that's true for 10% of the people. And guess what? They're not going to like you anyway. Yeah. They probably don't like you if you say yes.
They're never going to be your people.
Just
never.
move on. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, we're out of time. So what can you share with the audience how to reach you? Where can they find you?
Yes.
Sign me up for the Luxury Club.
Okay, so the club is called the Legacy Collective. We're opening at Regency Landing in April of 2026. You can go to legacycollectiveomaha.com and sign up for the newsletter. You'll get all the events. You'll get what's up and coming. You can sign up for a member now. It's a great discount right now. And it's going to be amazing. You definitely want to follow us on social at Legacy Collective Omaha.
Sign up. I did because I believe in the power of community and I believe in the power of positivity. And who you are hanging out with can either build you up or take you down. Mm-hmm. So join the community. And audience, thank you for being a wonderful, wonderful audience. Have a lovely day.